Hello everyone, my name's Lila and welcome back to my channel, Slowly We Go. Today I want to share with you my birth experience during lockdown, pandemic, 2020. Also, I carried my baby to over 42 weeks, so I thought that would be a really interesting thing to share with you guys as well. And most importantly, if you've seen my other videos, you will notice that my first baby was a positive, successful, planned home birth, and I shared that with you, and it was amazing to share that with you. And it was initially to empower people that if they felt the need to have a home birth, that they should. And unfortunately for me, it didn't go down like that this time. I did not get my home birth, and I just want to share with you guys how I went from planning another second no-brainer home birth to actually delivering in a hospital, which is somewhere I didn't want to be during this pandemic. I definitely do not like to make negative videos, so I'm going to try and make this a very positive video. And how I'm going to do that, at the end of sharing my experience, I want to give you guys some really helpful tips in which you can still have a really empowering, positive birth experience. These have come from a lot of reflecting and processing the birth that I had, and ways in which I know maybe would have made my experience a little bit better, speaking to other mums that have had positive experiences during the pandemic, and yeah, just maybe some things I would have done differently that would have helped me feel a little bit better about the birth that I had. So it is going to be an overall positive video, but I do think it's still important to share what it was like with the overall thought of empowering mamas. And you're going to get to meet my baby. Stick around to the end to hear them tips. I really hope you enjoy this video, and you know, this is a really sensitive and vulnerable time for mamas out there, pregnant, have had babies, you know, postpartum, fourth trimester. It's been really difficult, yeah. So, you know, it's okay to not be okay, and I'm here, my inbox is open. If you want to comment down below your experience, that would be great. Positive or negative, that's okay. This will be a nice space to hold this conversation. So I can hear my baba stirring. I'm gonna go and get him and enjoy the video, guys. Oh, here's your chunk. Oh, here's your chunk. Mwah. Hello. So this is baby Lucian. He's such a chunk. He was born 9 pounds 11. So we knew we were going to be having a big baby. We did have a growth scan, and he's exclusively breastfed, and he is still a chunky monkey. So I'm hoping I'm going to be able to film a video with him by my side. We shall see. I'm not going to make this a long drawn out version, because we all know, like, most of us could talk on and on and on about our pregnancy and birth experience. So I'm just going to summarize really and then get on to them positive tips. So I was, like I said, planning a second home birth. From having a really positive experience, I knew what I was doing. I was super excited to have another home birth. I felt totally empowered, and it was just overall really successful. So I was really excited to do it all again. I really was, and I had everything planned. I had a basket ready with all my stuff in. During obviously the lockdown and the pandemic, I was aware that, you know, partners were not allowed to be there during the labour, that it was just a really tricky situation, that they had to leave like directly after you'd had the baby as well. I had fears, I will admit. I had fears about being in hospital. I had fears around maybe giving birth without Lyndon there. That was probably the biggest thing. I had fears about being separated from baby afterwards if you tested positive. You know, there was a lot of scary stuff in the media, unfortunately. And yeah, so I had built up a bit of a fear, which I imagine a lot of mothers have done, even if you are, like myself, a very positive person. But because I had planned a home birth, and I was like 99% sure that that was going to be happening, I didn't let's say, deal with that fear. And then what happened was this little guy did not want to come. We got to 40 weeks, nothing. Got to 41 weeks and I was in slow labour, and they were talking about inducing at the 41 weeks, and I was obviously not keen because I knew that meant going into hospital. So I did refuse at 41 week, and then we got round to 42 week, and I just knew, because he was a big baby, that it was you can still have a home birth with babies after 42 week. You don't have to be induced at 42 week. You can have cord monitoring, you can have daily monitoring of, you know, yourself as well, just to make sure that baby is still okay in there. But for me, I knew he was a big baby and I didn't want him getting any bigger in there. We weren't sure how big he was, obviously, because the scans aren't always completely accurate. And so with a heavy heart, I did agree to the much pressured induction. From speaking to them, there was an option of having something called a outward patient induction, which I was okay with. I thought, okay, well, I can have the induction pessary, come home, labour at home as long as I possibly can. Kind of a compromise, having half of a home birth, I suppose, and then going in, you know, to deliver this baby. I went in, they said that I was not suitable for an outpatient induction because I was already contracting. If I'm contracting, then surely he's going to come tonight, like we're over 42 week now. But no, he did not come, and by the morning they had said that if he wasn't there by the morning, that I would have to go in for an inpatient induction, which basically means when you go in, you're not going back out again. Oh, hang on, somebody's knocking at my door. So I did have a hospital bag ready, but definitely maybe like not enough for knowing that I was going to be like labouring in there, having an induction. So I was rushing around putting some more bits and bobs in the bag, and I did not feel it's so sad, because really, when I say it out loud, it's like I should have been really excited because I was going to be meeting my baby finally. But I was then just hit by a flood of fear because I hadn't dealt with, or hadn't researched enough of what it was going to be like, you know, in the hospital during this lockdown without my partner, because they would not be allowed in for the induction. So put my big girl pants on, literally and figuratively, and went in for my induction, which was a very long, drawn out process because I was already in slow labour. And, you know, when I look back, I think, gosh, would he have just come naturally on his own in the next couple of days? But you can't think like that, I suppose. And so I had the pessary, and, you know, not much happened in the first like 6 hours, and then I would say they did start making the contractions that I already had ramp up. They class active labour as when once you're 4 centimetres, don't they? So I was stuck at 2 for a while, although it felt like I was much further on. It wasn't that great being on my own. So in total, I was in labour for like 36 hours. My contractions were there, they were painful, but they weren't regular. They were like between every 5 and 7 minutes. They want them to be strong, regular, like every 3 minutes. It went on like that until the second day in there. And then from about like 9 AM in the morning, that's when things were regular. I was in active labour, and I was like, yes, great, my partner can come now. I was going to get moved down to the labour ward. So in our local hospital, you were allowed your partners in from the point of being 4 centimetres. Strange benchmark, but there we are. I was feeling really down prior to that, and then this gave me a little bit of a boost. I was like, yes, he's going to be here. I was just really excited to see his face. I was missing him, and I needed my birthing partners. And unfortunately, the midwives informed me that there just wasn't a room yet down on the delivery ward. So I was in labour on an induction ward with other women until 5 PM that night. So that's probably the hardest part about my story. That was a lot of negative mental chatter which should have been positive with the help of birthing partners. Because let's be honest, it's not the midwife's fault. They are just as stressed out as we are. It's their job to be, you know, to help medically, and usually people's birthing partners are there to do the emotional support. But what's happening is, you know, midwives are needing to be there so much more for patients, which is putting a strain on their services. So bless them, they did an amazing job. At that point is where I realised how important having people around you that you love is so, is crucial to, you know, being your cheerleaders and egging you on. And when you're in them moments of this, I'm just done, I'm absolutely exhausted, I can't do this anymore, I'm not strong enough, that, you know, things have really ramped up, I'm really struggling. And they examined me and they said that I was, oh dear, she's 9 centimeters, we must get her down there. So, you know, it was a bit of a mad rush down on the bed, down to the delivery ward. And at that point I managed to log into my phone to get them to ring my partner, and I was just so fearful. I wasn't fearful of birth at all, like the pushing, like I wasn't fearful of that. I just didn't want him to miss it, and I was so worried that he wasn't going to be there, and that would have been the worst case scenario. But he was there, he did make it, and from the moment he was in the delivery suite with me and I could hear his voice and he was egging me on, like, it changed. It was a positive birth experience from that perspective. It was great. And baby was completely healthy. He was such a big boy and he was beautiful and he was so content, and he latched straight on to the breast, and he was just the perfect baby, and everything was right in the world again. And then unfortunately Lyndon was asked to leave, and I had to go to the maternity ward. I just wanted to go home. So not the story that I was expecting. What I've come to realise, I'll be honest, I was not okay with my story for the first few weeks. I struggled to accept, but I have now come to accept that it's great to have lots of different experiences in life. Better still, unplanned. And so I'm learning from that. And the positive outcome is that, obviously, this baby is the positive outcome. But another positive outcome is that I can share with you things I maybe would have done differently, and how to have an empowering, positive birth during this pandemic and lockdown. The first thing I would say is, it's okay to not feel okay about this. Like, this is so far from what is normal and needed during labour and birth. Like, we were never designed to do this on our own. We need that support. We need the people we love around us helping us mentally to stay strong. But that's not to say we can't. I wanted to say firstly that it is okay to not feel okay beforehand or after. Just because, you know, people will say, well, you've got your baby. That should not erase how you feel. How you feel is important. And it is valid. You can feel and seek out positives of your birth at a later date, and, you know, process which things I've done to now look back and see positive. But you don't have to feel that straight away, and that is fine. My second tip is to use your voice. Speak up. It's kind of interlinked with the first tip, but just speak up, speak about your fears. Let the midwives know, let your partner know how you're really feeling, let the people close to you know how you're really feeling, and they will help you. Like, this is how we get through things, guys. We talk about them, and through talking we process and we feel much better about them. Holding on to that, it's not going to help. Using your voice to get the best birth that you possibly can get out of the situation that you're in. So if you are, I mean, and I know it's not that regular to be planning a home birth, so if you know, you are definitely going into hospital, you've known that the whole time, you know, use that time to speak up about what you want during your birth in the hospital as much as allows, and have a good plan of action, and know the kind of pain relief you want or don't want, know the amount of examinations you do or don't want, know what you will accept and what you won't, know what kind of atmosphere you would like. Because usually what happens when you've got a birth partner, they can be your voice in the times when, you know, when you're in active labour. And if they're not going to be there, you need to be just totally prepared. So just know what you want. That's quite empowering in itself. You know, ring the midwives and find out what their regulations during the pandemic. Is there any leeway? If I'd have planned a hospital birth the entire pregnancy, I would have prepared a voice recording of my partner, and then maybe my mum and maybe a friend, of just really positive, helpful self-talk to plug my headphones in and listen to over and over again. It was definitely the lack of their voices that hindered my labour progressing, because I couldn't relax, because I didn't feel that I was like being held in a safe space. Or get them on the phone. Following on from that, the biggest tip I can give, so hard to remember in the moment, which is why we need our support team, is to relax your muscles from your jaw to your shoulders. Relax them two things. Your whole body relaxes. It's really bizarre. The faster you can relax your muscles, the faster you're gonna get through labour. Us women giving birth on our own at the minute, or labouring on our own, we are maybe not feeling so confident. We are maybe feeling a bit more vulnerable and a bit more fearful. Even if it's on a subconscious level, your body's going to be tense. So really checking in with yourself. Am I relaxing? Okay, no, I'm not. I'm tense during this contraction because it's painful as hell. Try and relax up that jaw and them shoulders, and that's really gonna help the contractions do their job, because they're trying to push the baby down. You are quickening your labour. You're in control of it. And I think it's really important to feel in control of your body and of the labour process. My last tip would be, it sounds very whimsical to say, see the positives. It will definitely be hard to see the positives in the situation. Just go with it. Surrender to that. Every birth is different and unique, and one day you will look back on it and smile, and see the positives afterwards. In times of when you're reflecting and processing, like I was, I can now see a lot of positives about that day that I maybe never saw at the time. And seeing the positives of what this lockdown has brought for our postpartum 4th trimester. On the outlook, it doesn't look great. The thought of, you know, there's no baby groups, there's masked, you know, all PPE health visitors coming in your house that are pretty scary looking. Like, you can't see anyone's facial expressions. There's the restrictions of not having your friends or family being able to meet your baby. However, you can heal and rest properly in a time when we don't do that. We are very much a society of get up and go. Snap back, get back to normal, get going with everything again. And actually, we're supposed to rest. We're supposed to be chill. We're supposed to be bonding with our baby. And this has given us the opportunity, it's given us the opportunity to do these things. And that is going to benefit you in the long run. It's going to benefit you and your baby. I found that I actually recovered way faster this time, even though technically it was a bit more of a traumatic birth in that he was way bigger. I carried to over 42 weeks. I hope these things have put a positive spin on birthing in these times, guys. I hope you feel confident. I hope you feel empowered. It's okay to feel all of the feels right now. And talk to your friends, talk to other mamas, join groups, and just know that you will have a beautiful baba soon, and all will be forgotten, and one day you'll be able to talk about it. And you know, we're living through history, as they say. Feel free to drop any comments below. Like I said, I want to hear experiences or any fears. We can talk about them. It's a safe space down below. Catch you in the next video, guys.